All right, so the first thing for our agenda is to get to know one another. So I can go first, I guess. Um, I'm Kaylee, and I married. My husband's in the military. We've been married for 6 years, and I'm currently living in Utah. I just moved here yesterday to start my internship, and I'm interning at Select Health and doing biometric screenings. And I graduate in July, so I'm almost finished. And I don't have any kids, but I have a super cute dog, and that's it.
Sorry.
That counts as a kid, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. Who wants to go next? Oh, Stephanie's here.
I can go next.
Okay.
My name is Michael, and I'm currently up at BYU, Idaho. I'm studying health psychology. I have 1 semester left, and I'm doing an internship starting this fall for about 8 months at Anasazi Foundation down in Arizona. So
Oh, what's that?
it's a therapy program, basically. So
Cool.
yeah.
All right. Mackenzie, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. So I'm Mackenzie. I live in Yukon, Idaho, which is just like 20 minutes from Rexburg. I've been for 3.5 years. I don't have any kids, but I do have 2 dogs. And this is my last semester. I'm going to walk in July, but then I'm doing my internship in the fall. So
Where are you doing your internship?
at South Fork Elementary School in Rigby.
Oh, cool.
I'm doing
Yeah,
the Play 60. So
yeah, I've heard them post about that and talk about it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
yeah.
That'll be fun. What about you, Anna? I don't know if we can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
now I can.
Hi.
Okay. Okay, so I'm Anna Lee, and I'm actually from Rexburg, Idaho. So I am
Cool.
here at BYU, Idaho.
Yeah.
I'm studying health science with a minor in medical assisting, and I'm planning on doing my internship for medical assisting during the 7-week break. I'm trying to think what else. And then I have a year left of school after I'm done with my internship. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
All right. Cool. Stephanie was here. I don't know where she went, though. Oh,
Oh, there she is.
there she is. Can you hear us, Stephanie?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Is everyone
just,
on?
yeah, none of us ever heard from Nathan, so I think this is everyone.
Oh, okay.
We just
Awesome.
finished introducing ourselves. If you want to introduce yourself.
Okay. I'm Stephanie. I'm a public health major, and I live in Pocatello, Idaho.
Cool.
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 How much longer do you have left?
I just have 2 semesters left. So,
Awesome.
yeah. Nice to meet all of you.
Yeah, you
Nice to
too.
meet
Nice to meet you too.
Okay. So now we just need to briefly discuss a quick review of the model. So summarize how the theory of reasoned action and planned behavior model works, and we can use the model template from the readings as a reference. And discuss how they relate, or the processes and how they relate to the stages of the model. So, hold up somewhere.
So if you want, I can summarize it.
Okay.
Sure.
So there's different parts of it. A behavioral intention is the best way of measuring whether health behavior will occur according to this model. And there's like 3 different factors that contribute to that. So your attitude towards the behavior, the subjective norm, which is basically what is perceived as normal, and then perceived control over the behavior. So how much of an impact can I have on changing this behavior? And ultimately, those contribute to our behavioral intention, which contributes to what behaviors we end up doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then discuss the processes and how they relate to the stages of the model.
The processes?
Yeah, I think it means the constructs.
Oh, I think I just mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. If anyone wants to elaborate.
Yeah, so let me get my notes here. So I think like you just have to break down like exactly how this behavior is going to happen, because you have the behavior, the intentions, like you said, the attitudes, and but then you also have like the person's belief, the subjective norm, and this is how they feel other people in their life, and I think that's really important too, how they think other people in their life are going to relate to this. You know, it kind of reminds me of like, you know, when recent converts, they have a hard time like, you know, making the changes and stuff to join the church because of how they think their family's going to feel. So that's how I kind of thought about that. And then just perceived power, perceived behavioral control, all of those. I think they really, all of them, you know, fit into how that's eventually going to work towards the health behavior and the intention or interventions.
Yeah. And I have kind of like a side note here, that this model is best for people who are doing intentional behaviors that are goal-oriented and they're using like a rational mindset, because not everybody behaves based on these things. Like it's not always this clear cut. So
Right.
it's kind of best for that mindset.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have anything to add?
No, I think that's good. I think you guys covered it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next part is applying the model. What kinds of interventions centered on the processes move people through the stages?
Move people through the stages.
What was the question? What kind of intervention?
Yeah, what kind of interventions centered on the processes move people through the stages? So I kind of talked about it in the reading and like gave some examples where the TRA has been used in health education and promotion. It gave a bunch of different things, and like acceptance of a diagnosis of depression, attitudes about genetically modified foods, condom use, developmental care training program for neonatal nurses. So I don't know if we need to think of our own interventions or if we need to identify like certain ones centered on each process.
Yeah, I guess the way that I'm reading it is which things are gonna which type of interventions are gonna change our attitude or subjective norm or perceived behavioral control.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to lead us to having more healthy behaviors. So I guess maybe one for attitude could be maybe obviously educating the person on the problem and maybe helping them to develop a feeling like there's some sort of risk involved. Like if I don't decide to change my behaviors, then maybe these bad things will happen to me. Like for example, I don't know how to say that more specifically though, but
No, I think that makes sense. Um, Sorry, I lost my place in my notes here.
you're good.
I guess it kind of depends on what factors you want to focus on, I guess, towards the target population. Because I guess there's like a ton of examples here that say like discussions help a ton, with a few of them, even role plays and things. And I don't know, just knowing our target population and the needs that they have, and just kind of seeing like their lifestyles and where they grew up, probably we'll get an idea on what kind of intervention we can do to address those factors to help them.
Right.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Another one of the examples they kind of pointed out in the ones you were reading from is modeling, and it says specifically modeling alcohol use. That could be a way of changing someone's subjective norms, like what they believe is being seen as normal. Because if they have like parents or other adults that are modeling like this is appropriate ways of drinking, and maybe trying to avoid like alcoholism, then that's going to change their subjective norm
Right.
about that. So.
Yeah, exactly.
What about like perceived behavioral control? Is that one that we've talked about yet? Which is how much a person feels they are in command of enacting the behavior. I think that kind of goes back to like the self-efficacy, like that we talked about I guess it was last week, and we read about and stuff. I think that like that control factor of like them not really knowing if they even can do it really plays into that. So I don't know if you guys have any other.
No, yeah, I agree. Like with everything you guys are saying, I think it really depends on the target population and how they see themselves. Because if someone already sees themselves, like we were talking about the alcohol, if someone already sees themselves as an alcoholic, we're gonna have a hard time telling them about that when they already see themselves that way. So
right.
I think about about how they see themselves and whatnot.
Right. Okay. So discuss the examples presented in your readings and how was the model used in these examples. So I guess we could we did discuss like the alcohol one. Do we want to talk about a couple more?
I think another example that I noticed was about, so if we're thinking of like primary prevention, so people who are not, they don't have a disease or the specific disease in question, and we're talking about like STDs. So for perceived behavioral control, educating this particular audience on like condom use would be a way of like giving the power into their hands to say it's up to you. Like, you can avoid getting an STD, and condom use is one way that you could. So.
Right. I'm looking at this patient compliance during orthodontic treatment, and I think that kind of can go to, like, can be part of, like, attitude. Like, I think of teenagers. Here I am, 25, and I have braces, so I guess that's why I'm drawn to that one. But, like, teenagers, my orthodontist was telling me, like, he has such a hard time getting them to brush their teeth. And so he developed this token system where if they come in and their teeth are really clean and they don't have buildup, and then he gives them tokens and they can earn pretty significant rewards. It's like $50 gift cards, iPod shuffles, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it can kind of change their attitude based on that, like, reinforcement, positive reinforcement.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's cool.
yeah. Most of the people that see him are kids, so
Right.
I don't get tokens because I'm an adult, I guess.
You should be like, don't discriminate against me.
Yeah.
One example I thought was interesting was the one where it says promoting milk 1% or less fat.
Mm-hmm.
It's because my dad's a health nut, and he's done a lot of research on that, and he has found that whole milk is healthier, even though it's a little bit more fattening.
Mm-hmm.
It's healthier than 1% milk. And so I think when we're, like, if we do promote health, you need to kind of look at everything. It's like, just because it has less fat doesn't mean it's the better choice.
Right, yeah.
Just because some fat is good, but
That is interesting. Is there any other studies you guys were interested in, or? I think violence prevention is interesting too, because I think that really stems from attitudes, like just the way that people were raised and their beliefs about how to handle certain situations and that type of thing. And so that would be a really tough situation to change attitudes. I think most people agree that violence is not necessary, but it's about changing the actual behavior, you know, when
yeah.
you've been doing that your whole life and, you know,
Right.
solving your problems through violence. So that would be an interesting.
I think you could even apply that to subjective norm as well, because if you look at neighborhoods with lower SES, they tend to have a higher crime or violence rating. So
Yeah, that's
if it's like perceived as being a normal thing, then more people are going to resort to violence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Should we move on to the next question?
Sure.
Yeah.
We're blazing through these. All right.
It's
So
okay.
now we just need to discuss the scenario, the Grace's scenario from the foundation. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So just ask each group member to share their thoughts on each option. So I have my options here. I guess I'll just read whichever one, and we can say, you know, between 1 and 5 what we think it is, between morally forbidden and morally permissible. So 1, Grace thinks the powder is sugar. It is sugar. Her friend is fine. What did you guys put?
I'm going to need to refresh my memory. Is this from the overview?
It's from the foundation, and it's super quick. I can tell you, like, really quick. The article, it talks about this girl Grace, and she puts a powder in her friend's coffee, and hold on, I've got it pulled up here. Oh, where did it go? So she puts a powder in her friend's coffee, and I don't know where.
Was
I
that
see.
was that the one that was a video or kind of
Yeah,
like a
it's
slide
like
thing?
an audio thing. Yeah. So
Oh,
it says scientists have found a surprising link between magnets and morality, and it talks about how a person's judgments can be changed instantly, almost instantly, by delivering a magnetic pulse to an area of the brain right near the right ear.
okay.
And it talks about people in the study read stories designed to produce moral judgments. And the story begins with a woman named Grace. She puts powder in her friend's coffee, and after that, the story goes in several directions. In one version, she believes she's putting sugar in her friend's coffee, but it turns out to be poison, and her friend dies. In another version, Grace believes she's putting poison in the coffee, but it turns out to be sugar, and her friend is fine. And then it says people who hear these stories generally forgive Grace for an unwittingly
Oh,
poisoning her friend. And anyways, they change how these people feel based on this magnetic pulse. And um,
right.
so in the foundation, there's just a little quiz, and if you go to I think
Yeah,
the second
I
to last
remember now.
slide,
Yeah,
yeah.
I found it. Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being morally forbidden and morally permissible, um, the first question is, Grace thinks the powder is sugar. It is sugar, and her friend is fine. So what do you
So
guys think?
for me, I actually put a 4 just because like she didn't ask her friend if she wanted sugar. So like I didn't put a 5 because like if it were me, I'd be like, okay, it's not totally okay that you just like went across my boundaries without asking to put sugar in my coffee.
No,
That is a funny way to look at it.
I actually thought of it that way too. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, all right, she just ruined. Like, I can ask for sugar, so
Yeah.
What if her friend's a diabetic?
Yeah.
She doesn't want sugar. She needs like stevia or something.
What's the health of sugar?
Okay.
Oh,
Well, I had put 5 because I was like, good intentions, but
Right.
whatever. All right. So the second one is Grace thinks the powder is sugar, but it's toxic, and her friend dies. I put 3 just because, she didn't know, but
Right.
Yeah.
So I put 3 as well, and like she didn't know, so she's innocent in a way. However, how do you accidentally like get some sort of powder that's toxic and think it's sugar?
yeah. Sugar
I'm just trying
spelled.
I'm just trying to think of a scenario like that in my head, and it's not really working. So.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so the third one is Grace thinks the powder is toxic, it is sugar, and her friend is fine.
I put a 1 on that one because I don't know. I just feel like if you know it's toxic, or if you have like an idea in your mind that it can be toxic, you're gonna say something. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
At least I would hope I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
She's like obviously
no,
putting it in there
So
for
I
the wrong reason.
Right. I would agree as well. She obviously had the intention to hurt her friend, so
Yeah.
that's a 1.
Agreed.
yeah, I also put 1 as well.
Yeah, me too.
Mhm.
All right, and then the last one, Grace thinks the powder is toxic, and it is toxic, and her friend dies. Obviously, it should be a 1. If you didn't put
Right.
1, something's wrong with you.
She should go to jail.
Yes.
Oh dear. Yeah.
So, okay. I need to go back to our page here. All right, so the last thing, we just need to read the instructions for the application assignment and prepare to complete this assignment by allowing a group member to select one of their interviewees. Work together to identify the constructs from interview questions and select which area the volunteer struggled with the most. then work together to design interventions driven by the model. I haven't looked too much at this assignment, so I don't know if any of you have.
I haven't either.
I have not.
Okay.
I think it's due Saturday, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know if we need to choose
Like do it now
one
or
another.
something?
Let's see.
Yeah, let's just look through it.
Oh, I
Wait,
see.
so
It
are
says
these the
return.
interview,
Sorry, go ahead.
the interview people we're talking about? Are they the ones that we interviewed about like how healthy they are and whatnot, and we had to
The
record
health
it?
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
So it says
assuming that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, it
Okay.
says return to the health interviews you conducted in lesson 3. Select one of the interviews to use for this assignment. And then identify which interview questions pertain to attitude, which are subjective norms, and which pertain to perceived behavioral control. So I guess, let's see. Allowing a group member to select one of their interviewees. So we all select the same one?
I think just one of us picks one of the interviews and kind of we go through it together and we say which questions seem to be which of the 3. That's what I got from it.
Are we only submitting one assignment? Like,
Yes.
I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm.
It says on the thing that it's an individual. It says this is an individual assignment. So I think we all have to submit something.
Are we talking about like the Saturday one, or are we talking about the relevance?
The rest.
We're
We're
talking
talking
about
about-
relevance?
The
relevance is right
relevance is a group thing, and we just post a link to it. The report.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but
I'll
the
post that
Saturday
link.
thing is individual.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think we should just discuss maybe one of ours to kind of get like our heads going on like what we individually. Does anybody want to share?
But the thing I'm confused about, are we supposed to be?
I think we're just talking about it. It says work together to identify the constructs from the interview questions and select which area the volunteer struggled with most. So I think we're just choosing one, and then we're all talking about it.
So
what I-
one person from.
Yeah, because it says allow a group member to select one of their interviewees.
Oh, okay.
We can use mine if you guys want.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
I just interviewed my husband, so
Okay.
hold on, I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, maybe. If my internet will work. Okay. Alright, so do you guys just want me to like go through it and read it? Or
Yeah, I don't know if we even need to go through the entire thing, but maybe just go through a few and see if we can match them up to parts of this theory of planned behavior.
Yeah. I guess maybe we should first identify the constructs from the questions, because we all still have those interviews, right, from our own.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So I can open mine and look at the questions and figure out which construct it applies to.
Okay.
Okay.
So for attitude, maybe like how willing are you to make changes? Um,
How ready and prepared are you?
mhm.
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 Yeah, that kind of goes with intention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of these are kind of part of the intention. Um,
Yeah, and I think
for subjective norm. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
you're fine. I think it also goes towards like perceived behavioral control
Mhm.
and how they feel they're gonna do, And I don't think the people that like at least that I was interviewing, they were prepared to like hear like, are you ready to make changes in the next 4 weeks?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So
And then the questions that talk about like your social network and the ones that say like most people in my social network want me to eat healthy or would be supportive of me type thing. That's a subjective norm one because
Yep.
it's like, okay, how normal is it going to be for me to do this?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Um, I think under goals and intentions on the last page where it says what are the top 3 outcomes you want from a participation in a workout program, I think that can go with outcome evaluations, the values that they place on the outcomes, what they really want the outcome to be and how valuable that is to them right now. Okay. And so now we just need to select which area the volunteer struggled with the most. Did your husband struggle with anything particular?
No. I mean, it's funny because like nutritional, I'm the one who buys all the food, and so like nutrition wise, he's doing really well because I can't eat bread and stuff like that. So he doesn't eat that stuff, so he eats pretty healthy with me. But then like exercise fitness, he works at the hospital in Idaho Falls, and he works like over a week. So like it's probably a struggle.
It's like the opposite for my husband because he's in the military, so he's like mandated, to do exercise every day. But his nutrition is not what it should be. But he exercises so he can eat as much as he wants, because he's like running all the time. So not that he should eat that stuff, but he just does.
Yeah.
How much is he mandated to like exercise? Like, is there a specific
So,
amount?
it's not like well, you have to do, each company is different and it depends on leadership, but
Oh, okay.
he has to participate in the company PT. And so then he really just has to meet the requirements to pass the test. So he has to run
Um,
a mile in under, or 2 miles in under, I think it depends on your age and your weight, but 18 minutes, and then he has to do so many sit-ups and so many push-ups in 2 minutes. And
okay.
Yeah.
um, okay, so now we just need to work together to design interventions driven by the model.
Okay.
In order to help him with what
Yeah.
he's driven? Oh, okay.
Like, I guess in the area that he struggled with most. So I guess if we want to just work on the exercise portion of it.
Okay. Or are we supposed to focus on like attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control? Is
Yeah,
that what we're supposed to
so interventions using those constructs
find? Okay.
geared towards his interview.
So like which area of those three does contribute him to struggling with that? Is it like mostly attitude or?
Mm, no. Let's see. Because he wants to work out.
Right.
Like, he has a good attitude about it. He just can't find the time.
So I wonder if that would be like perceived behavioral control,
Yeah.
like how much they feel they're in
That's what I was
command of being able to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, I think that one's it because I think if he really tried, he could work out. You just have to wake up earlier in the mornings. But
Yeah.
So what intervention would we do to help um, give him more of a sense of control, I guess?
What does he do for work?
he is a phlebotomist, so he draws.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
At my internship, they have these posters all over the walls and in the cubicles, and it says ways to work out at work. And it's just like, doing lunges or like calf raises while you're just standing there. So maybe if you could just find like some sort of exercise that he could do while he's working, whether it's like when he's walking to the lab, he does 10 lunges there and back or whatever.
And it's crazy because, like, you know how phones nowadays tracks how much you've walked?
Mhm.
Yeah.
He walks over 5 miles a day just at work.
I
Wow.
believe it.
Oh,
I
man.
believe it.
So,
Yeah, that reminds me of in health psychology, Brother Wright, he actually, the first day he had us do these 3 exercises that were like, you can do them anywhere, anytime. And one of them is like the butt squeezes, which
Yeah.
is really hilarious.
You can just
So,
do your chair.
yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
I used to have this classmate in one of my classes, and he would just fill up his water bottle. He had a huge water bottle, right? And he would just fill it before class, and then during class he would just like curl his water bottle. That was the funniest
That's
thing.
hilarious.
I used to like do workout videos and I didn't have weights, so I just used like big cans of like beef
Oh,
soup
man.
or whatever, like
I've done that before.
I have too.
And it did nothing for me.
right?
Someone was like,
It's
oh, you
like-
gotta work out with it. And I'm like, no.
You're holding the can. This looks really good. I'm gonna eat this.
Right. I'm gonna do anything for dieting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any other interventions? that we can think of. I think those are pretty good. Like finding ways, because he's so busy, finding ways that he can just incorporate it into what he's currently doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. We have a few of us that need to leave by 7, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm one of them. So
Yeah, me too. So it says if time allows, but I don't think time's going to allow. So
yeah.
so we just need to decide which member of our group wants to be the leader for next week.
Are we going to meet every Tuesday?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask. Okay. At
So
6?
I think it's up to us as long as it's kind of within that time period.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited, but,
Okay.
All right.
I
Who
think
wants-
all of us will have an opportunity to do it. So
Okay.
should we just like assign someone?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you need help figuring out how to do Hangouts, then I can help you too.
And I think there's also instructions.
Is there?
Yeah.
It's really not hard. Like, it took me a while to figure out, and I felt dumb after I finally figured it out. You just go to Hangouts on Air, start a new Hangout on Air, and I push start now, and then I join, or I start it, and then from where you're seeing yourself, you go up to the top, and I don't know if you can all see this, but like if you put your cursor up at the top, there's a little person with a plus sign.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
you
think
push invite people, and you can send them the link, and then you can also invite them by their email. And then once everybody's in the call, then you push start broadcast, and that's what starts the recording.
Okay.
So it's pretty easy, but
How do you record it?
it's so you can have like a regular Hangout, like which is just like Skype or FaceTime, but then you can do Hangouts on Air, which is like what we're doing now, and you just go to a different. If you just Google Hangouts on Air, it will bring it up, and you just push create a Hangout on Air, and then you can select like a time and then invite people, but I just don't invite people until I'm actually in the call. That way, because if you invite people like from the page where you create it, it just allows them to view it, I believe. So, so once I get into the call, then I invite people up at the top, and then once they are joined, then there's a button on the bottom which will say Start Broadcast.
Oh, and that's okay.
And that's how it starts recording, and then it just records straight to YouTube, and then you should have a link in your Google Plus.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
All right. Anybody want to volunteer to be the group lead next week?
So who was leader this week?
I guess me.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really know, so I was like, I'll just start hanging out, and I guess I'll be group leader.
Do you guys want to just do like by alphabetical order?
Sure.
Same or okay. Then
I think I might be first anyway, so that probably worked out.
okay. So who would be next?
Stephanie.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Go team.
Six.
All right, and then I guess we'll just send like another email out reminding everyone next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 All right.
Okay.
Sounds good, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
See you later.
See you guys.
Bye.